Well, hello everyone, and welcome to week 3. Can you believe it? We're in our third week of our class. So this is our week 3 overview, so let's get started. Okay, so we begin with this week in the history of American politics. This event was legislation that was passed during the Confederation Congress and later passed again in the United States Congress. Basically, what that means is that the Confederation Congress is the Congress of the United States that was under the auspices of the Articles of Confederation. When the United States Constitution was ratified, the Articles of Confederation were abolished, and the new government under the United States Constitution was created. So this legislation was so important that the representatives in the new United States Congress felt it should be passed. It was significant in the country dealing with the issue of slavery in the United States. And it also, the components of this act of legislation was declared unconstitutional by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in a very famous Supreme Court decision. Guessed it. It was the passage of the Northwest Ordinance on July 13th, 1787. On the left, there is a map that shows the states that were carved out of the Northwest Ordinance. Let's get some quick facts. It was the first acquisition of land by a legislative act. It was enacted prior to Virginia creating Kentucky. It was enacted prior to the creation of Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. Now, the reason I put that information on to help you is that those are the states that were east of the Mississippi River. So a lot of the founders felt that the United States probably would stop at the Mississippi River. Of course, that was not to be. But that is what I wanted to put on there for you. Also, prohibited slavery in the territories included in the Northwest Ordinance. So all the Northwest Ordinance, when it was created, slavery was not allowed in those territories, which would turn into states. Prohibition of slavery was declared unconstitutional by Chief Justice Roger Taney in the Dred Scott decision. Now, the Dred Scott decision, of course, is the decision in 1857, where it decided that black people had no rights as citizens because, in a very unfortunate description, they are not human, basically, and that they are not allowed the same privileges as a person in the United States. Now, Roger Taney writes what is called an oberdictum, and it's basically Latin for a little bit more. And so he writes in his decision a little bit more than the decision actually needed. So in his oberdictum, he said that every state that abolished slavery was had acted unconstitutionally, because in the Constitution there's no way that any state cannot have slavery. Now, this is very uncomfortable for us now, but that made a constitutional argument for the not just the Dred Scott decision, but Taney's oberdictum, that all states cannot abolish slavery. So what this does creates an argument between those who are states' rights advocates and those that are more nationalistic in their belief that the United States government should be. So this takes away a part of the rights of states that they can decide for their own for themselves whether they can have slavery or not. And of course, we know what happens after that. But that's what this is. This is the anniversary of the passage of the Northwest Ordinance, and there's quite a bit to it. And like I said, this is not going to be tested. This is simply just for your edification, okay? All right, let's move on. All right, everyone. So week 3 is the topic for week 3 is participation of the people, and the 3 things that you are responsible for this week are the chapters to be read, chapters 6 and 7. Be sure to click on the reading to read it. Be sure to complete the reading to take the quiz. And remember, you automatically receive 30 points for taking the quiz. It's graded, but not um, in a way that you would suffer if you got a question wrong. It is simply a participation in reading and you being rewarded for doing the reading. Okay? All right, so that's that. And then we have our class discussion. We remember that the information for your initial posts are the contents of the video lectures, not the reading. Be sure to comment on a fellow student's post to complete the assignment after you do your post. Note, be sure to read the comments on your assignment. And last week in week 2, I hope you noticed that when I graded your discussion, your post and your student response, that I put some comments in there. So read those comments, and after I grade those and put the comments in, I send you by email the rubric that I use to grade. And then on the rubric, I also color code where you stood on that subject. So usually what I highlight in blue is you did very well. If I highlight it in red, that is where you need to work on, okay? And then at the very bottom, you have the points that you earned, and then I just converted it to a letter grade. And then at the very bottom of the rubric is the division of points to letter grade. Okay. Now on the video lectures, you have 2 video lectures for the week to use for your discussion topic. One of them is pretty short. I think it's just right at 7 minutes. And then the second one is a little longer. It's right at an hour. So block out some time to do that. And be ready to use your information that's going to be given to you to use your post, okay, on your class discussion. All right, let's move on. Well, everyone, I hope you have a great week. Be sure and look at the things we talked about in this overview. If you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me. If you have a problem, please do not hesitate to contact me. We can work out anything, okay? And as always, you should have a donut after this, after your week's work. Celebrate with a donut, okay? All right, everybody, hope you have a great week.